Good afternoon. Welcome to Plant Delights, Juniper Level Botanical Garden. Today we're going to be talking about cross-cutting and scooping agave. What we're going to be doing with this technique is destroying the apical meristem. The apical meristem is the bottommost center point right here where all the apical dominance in the plant starts. For layman's terms, that gets all the energy and all of the hormones in the plant to continue growing. What we want to do is go in here, destroy that, and then make a plant go from looking like that to looking like that. I'm going to show you the techniques that we'll use. There's two that we'll use today. The first one is called a crosscut. What we're doing is we're going to simply take a knife, we're going to sterilize it with a flame. Then we're going to quench that. What we're trying to do is, once again, find that central portion of the plant. And that's kind of hard to do sometimes. So what you have to do is take your best guess at where that point is. A lot of times I like to take a straight edge, like the drill, and follow it straight down into the plant to see where that may be. This plant has been cross-cut or scooped a couple times and has continued to shift the way it grows in the pot. So this makes it even more difficult. Is it this angle? Is it that angle? You want to take a good look, and it looks like it's going to be somewhere right around here. Now that I've found the angle, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in here, I'm going to open this up, and make it nice and clean so I can get a good visual of where I want to make this cut. It's super important that we actually hit that meristem. If you don't, basically what happens is you waste a year sometimes of growth to see what happens. Some of these plants won't offset right away and may take up to about 6 or 7 months to see any growth happening. If you look closely, you can see all the dormant buds that are existing where I had peeled those leaves. What's neat about this is as soon as I take away that dominance, most likely we're going to see stem elongation and these buds breaking and forming new plantlets like we see in this plant here. All right, here comes the cut. So I'm going to make that a nice straight piece, measure this up again, make sure I got the right spot that I want to cut. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in right on the base of it, something like that. And I'm going to size up that stab to make sure that I'm still straight and look pretty close to the center, and it looks like it's right on there. So I'm going to go through this, see if I hit that right now. I'm going to go all the way through. So I see the knife come through on the central portion over here, and I'm going to go all the way through and make sure it's clean. So now you can see this nice little opening there. Okay. If the crown was larger, I could go ahead and continue to do this maybe 2 to 3 times depending on the size of this crown width right here. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back in the pot. I'm going to inspect it for any potential pests and treat those if I see anything. Right now, looks good. The roots all look nice and healthy. I'm going to go ahead and put that back into a pot, and then I'm going to actually put a tag in there of when I cross-cut this plant. We're going to set that back in there like this, and we're going to put a plant tag, and it's good to go. We will mark these plants with a flag in the nursery. It's very important that we keep them dry for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Let them dry down. We will specifically bottom water only, no overhead watering. And the reason we do that is primarily for this technique. We're going to be getting into the scooping technique now. Scooping technique is a little bit more aggressive. What we're going to do, sterilize this again. Then we're also going to be introducing a drill. So I want to sterilize that bit by fire. Fire is the only way we do all of our sterilizing. A lot of people use bleach. A lot of people use alcohol. Bleach is super corrosive and rough on your equipment. Bleach is also going to burn your clothes and damage anything around them. Alcohol does nothing to kill, so it's pretty much worthless, so we rely on this. At home, I use a Bic lighter I carry in my holster for when I'm working in the garden. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is come in here and we're going to pop out this button of central growth. If you look in there, you can actually see the apical meristem right around here. And this is a monocot. A monocot is like think of a blade of grass. It's going to completely be growing through that bottom basal plate continuously. So we have to get in here, and it's really important that we clean out all of the broken off tissue that's in this. We don't want to leave any bits of that. If I've seen where if you're sloppy in this technique, you'll pay the price in about 2 weeks when all that foliage starts to senesce and break down. I've seen a lot of rot take plants completely out. So we're going to clean that out so it's nice clean margins and that sort of thing. It's important that you use a small drill bit. If you use something too wide, you'll go ahead and what would happen is you would destroy every bud that was at the base. So imagine if I used a drill bit through this thing that was almost as wide as the diameter of that trunk. It's going to completely annihilate all your work. So what we do is we choose a smaller diameter, such as this, and we will find that apical meristem, or where we think that central point is, and what we're going to do is we're just going to simply drill right through the middle of that. We're going to widen that out. We're going to pull it back out. What we're going to do here is we're going to come in and clean out all that damaged tissue one more time, and we're going to finesse any little bit that we have remaining in there. Let's get that out. All right. That's usually about good enough right there. And now we'll let this dry down once again for another 2 weeks or so. This will get put in a solid bottom watering tray. We don't want to have any overhead water hit this. If it does happen, I have drilled all the way through the crown of the plant. So there is a big hole through this that acts as a drain, just in case something happens. It's not going to hurt the plant. It's going to make it offset just as much. There's nothing I've ever seen that's adverse as far as reactions go. I'm going to take this leaf out, make sure I clean the rest of that. I saw it was barely hanging there, so I'm just pulling out that little bit of damaged tissue. I don't want to be destroying all my hard work. So that's our finished product right there. If you accidentally have a mistake like this, which happens, you can actually take these plants when they offset and turn them into cuttings. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply remove these bottom leaves until you get a little bit of a stem exposed. And then basically we're going to let that dry down for about a day or so. We're going to come back and we're going to give it a little bit of a rooting hormone, typically IBA3. Hormodin 3 is the product that we would use on this. And then we're going to simply grab a pot of soil and we're going to stick it, and that's that. We'll give it that hormone and simply place it about that depth right there. We'll label the plant, and then we will water it in about a week and a half or so, and watch for roots to start within about 5 to 6 weeks. So just keep the water really, really light, and you'll be good to go. Thank you for spending the afternoon with me, and hope you have success in cross-cutting and scooping your agaves. Happy planting.